Is the Shelby GT 500 that special, or just overpriced noise? What sets it apart? Is it the raw power, or just a carefully crafted reputation? Is it worth the hype, or is it just a flashy badge? Please don't forget to subscribe, as it helps us to reach more gearheads. Have you ever wondered what makes a car legendary enough to command $1 million price tag? Let's step back in time to understand why this particular car continues to capture hearts more than half a century later. The 1960s weren't just about rock and roll and social revolution, but they also marked America's golden age of automotive innovation. Among all the impressive cars from Detroit, one name stood out: Carroll Shelby. But who was Carroll Shelby? Before he became the automotive legend we all know today, Shelby was indeed a chicken farmer turned racing driver. His journey from raising poultry to racing cars seems almost unbelievable, but it's this unique background that would later impact his approach to car building. Practical, powerful, and without unnecessary frills. Shelby's racing success led him to create the famous Cobra sports cars, and then have a partnership with Ford to develop the GT40 race car that dominated the prestigious 24 Hours of Le Mans for 4 consecutive years. This victory was particularly sweet, as it fulfilled Henry Ford II's personal fight against Ferrari, but that's another interesting story for another time. Would you believe that Ford initially planned to make only 50 GT500s? The reason they ended up making more involves one late-night phone call that changed everything. The story goes that dealer pressure and public demand became so high after the first announcements that Ford's marketing department had to completely restructure their production plans. This conclusion would later prove crucial for the car's legacy. Now, let's talk about what makes this particular white and blue GT500 so amazing. But here's the twist. GT500's engine wasn't actually Ford's first choice. The story behind how this specific 428 engine ended up in the car reveals a fascinating strong battle between cost, performance, and marketing. At first, Ford considered using the more exotic 427 racing engine, the same one that powered their Le Mans winning GT40s. However, the 428 Police Interceptor engine proved to be a more cost-effective choice, while still delivering great performance. The 428 cubic inch V8 engine produces 360 horsepower, which might seem modest by today's standards, but in 1967, this power figure made other cars seem like small toys. Speaking of power, there's an intriguing detail about its performance that only few people know. While the official horsepower rating was 360, many automotive historians believe that this number was intentionally underreported. Why? Insurance companies were beginning to break down on high-performance cars, and keeping the official numbers lower helped them keep insurance rates quite manageable for the buyers. The exterior design tells its own story of form meeting act. Those iconic white and blue stripes weren't just for mere show, but were part of Shelby's racing heritage, a visual link to the GT40s that dominated Le Mans. Each GT500 required over 22 to 23 hours of custom work to transform it from a standard Mustang into a Shelby. Inside the car, you'll find yourself transported to a different era of automotive design. The interior might seem a little scattered by today's standards, with its manual window cranks and basic gauges, but every element serves some purpose. The seats, while not luxurious, were designed for optimal driver control during high-speed operations. Even the steering wheel position was carefully calculated and curated to provide the best combination of comfort and control. But here's the twist. While everyone knows the GT500 was the most powerful, its most significant effect on the automotive industry had nothing to do with its horsepower. This car basically changed how American manufacturers would market performance cars for the next 50 years. Before the GT500, performance cars were marketed only on speed and power. Shelby introduced the concept of exclusive, limited production performance cars that combine luxury along with performance, which was a formula that continues to influence car manufacturers today. There's an amazing reason why modern car collectors are willing to pay more for these cars now than ever before, and it has nothing to do with their rarity. The GT500 represents the perfect storm of historical impact, performance capabilities, and cultural significance. Its appearance in popular culture, most notably as Eleanor in Gone in 60 Seconds, has only amplified its mystique. The value of these cars has peaked in recent years, with prices ranging from several $100,000 to over $1 million for exceptional examples. But what makes a GT500 exceptional? It's not just about conditions, though that's important. The most valuable examples often come with documented pasts, original parts, and in some cases, Carroll Shelby's signature, just like the example we're looking at. The restoration process for these cars shows another fascinating aspect of their story. Each GT500 requires hundreds of hours of accurate work to restore, with some parts being so rare that they must be custom made. This challenge has created an entire industry of expert workers dedicated to keeping these legends alive. Looking to the future, the GT500's effect continues to be felt. Modern Mustang Shelby variants still carry the GT500 name, though they now pack far more power than their ancestor could have ever imagined. Yet there's something special about the original 1967 model that no other modern car can quite replicate. It represents the perfect combination of raw power, racing line, and American automotive innovation. As we examine this specific white and blue example, with its preserved condition and Carroll Shelby certification, we're reminded that some cars transcend their role as for mere transportation. The 1967 Shelby GT500 isn't just a car, it's a masterpiece of automotive history, a testament to American ingenuity, and a symbol of an era when anything and everything seemed possible on four wheels. The legacy of the 1967 Shelby GT500 continues to grow with each passing year, proving that true legends never fade away, they only become more valuable with time. Whether you're a dedicated car enthusiast or simply appreciate beautiful design and engineering, the GT500 stands as a reminder of what's possible when the creators dare to push the boundaries of what a car can be. And perhaps that's the real secret to its $1 million price tag. It's not just buying a car, it's buying a piece of automotive history that completely changed the world of performance cars forever. Now let's discuss some super cool facts about this car. Did you know that the Shelby GT500 wasn't the only high-performance Mustang of that time? Ford also offered the GT350, which was a bit lighter and faster than the GT500. But the GT500 was all about raw power, but it was built to be the ultimate muscle car. In fact, some people refer to it as the king of the road from that era. Another interesting fact is that the GT500's engine wasn't the only thing that sets it apart. The suspension and brakes were also heavily modified by Shelby's team to handle the extra power produced. They used stiffer springs and bigger anti-roll bars and upgraded the brakes to make sure this car could stop as impressively as it could accelerate. Is the Shelby GT500's value in its rarity, or is it the nostalgic rush that gives us American muscle's golden age? The GT500 wasn't just a showpiece, it was a serious competitor on the racetrack too. Shelby's racing pedigree shone through, and the car proved itself on the circuit, winning numerous competitions throughout the 1960s. You know, one of the main reasons the GT500 is so valuable today is that Shelby only built around 2,000 pieces of them in 1967. That's not a lot, especially when you consider how many people wanted to get their hands on one of them back then. It's like automotive gold dust. The rarer it is, the more people are willing to buy it. But the GT500's value isn't just about rarity. It's also about the sheer emotion and nostalgia that this car invokes. When people see a perfect, well-preserved example, it takes them back to a time when American muscle cars ruled all roads. It's a reminder of the excitement and ultimate freedom of the 1960s. No wonder collectors were so eager to own a piece of it in the past. Speaking of preservation, the restoration process for these cars is truly impressive. Skilled experts have to source hard-to-find original parts, carefully disassemble the entire vehicle, and then precisely rebuild it to different factory specifications. It's like bringing a piece of the past back to life. And the attention to detail is just mind-blowing, as they'll even recreate the original factory paint colors and finishes to make sure every detail is correct. With all this in mind, it's no wonder the 1967 Shelby GT500 continues to captivate car enthusiasts and collectors. This car isn't just a machine, it's an account to the passion and sheer grit of the people who created it. It's a living, breathing piece of automotive history that will continue to be cherished for generations to come. And that's a wrap, guys. The Shelby GT500 isn't just a car, it's a piece of history, packed with power and nostalgia. Leave your thoughts in the comments below, give it a thumbs up if you liked the video, and please make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss our next episode in the MuscleCar Vault.